The Lakers are not winning a championship this season, no chance, and it goes way deeper than Luka's injury. That situation was just the surface crack because insiders say things really blew up after that April 2nd game against the Thunder when Austin Reaves and Bronny James got into a heated confrontation. But Reaves didn't just speak up, he went all the way in, no hesitation. And what shocked everyone the most?
I did what I did, and I'd do it again.
Reaves didn't back down at all. He stood on everything he did, loud and clear, because this whole situation was sparked by comments Bronny made about Luka's injury. Once you hear what was said and how LeBron somehow gets pulled into this, you start seeing the full picture come together in a wild way. While everyone at home was focused on the Lakers getting blown out by 43 points, that score wasn't even the real story. The real chaos started the moment Luka went down. That's when everything shifted, and the energy in that arena turned heavy fast. Luka wasn't just dealing with a physical injury. This hit him deep emotionally, too. He was literally one game away from qualifying for the MVP race, sitting at 33.5 points per game and carrying the entire franchise like it was nothing. Then suddenly his leg gives out. Just like that, he's on the floor in Oklahoma City, and when he's walking off, you can see it in his face. He already knows it's over for the season. But while Luka is dealing with that kind of pain, something ugly is happening behind the scenes in the Paycom Center tunnel. Something that would push Austin Reaves past his limit and into a situation nobody expected from him. And it gets worse before anything even happens between Reaves and Bronny. There was a courtside fan who decided it was the perfect moment to clown a player who couldn't even stand up. This guy starts yelling at Luka, telling him to stop crying and saying his defense is trash, completely out of line, no respect at all. But Austin Reaves didn't ignore it like most players might. He stepped up instantly, went straight into that fan's space and made it clear that wasn't going to fly.
Now you know what it's like to play defense. Shut the f*** up. Shut up, it's fucking hurt.
You could see it. He was heated, protective, and not thinking about fines or league rules at all. He saw his teammate hurting and reacted like it was personal. Meanwhile, LeBron, the supposed leader of the team, stayed quiet through all of this. No reaction, no stepping in, nothing. That silence didn't go unnoticed either, and it added even more tension to an already boiling situation. Because behind the scenes, this team hasn't really been united for a while now. According to insiders, it's been split into two sides. The LeBron camp and the Luka Reaves camp. Same jersey, same court, but completely different energy. And when those two sides finally collided in that tunnel, it didn't just turn into words, it turned into something way bigger. What happened next wasn't just another argument, it was one of the most intense confrontations the league has seen in years. And when you hear what Bronny actually said, it explains exactly why Reaves snapped the way he did. Picture this. You walk into the tunnel after watching your close teammate possibly lose his season, maybe more. And instead of concern, you see someone acting like it's not a big deal at all. That's the moment Reaves walked into. He was already fired up from the fan incident, already on edge. But when he turned that corner, he didn't see a locker room full of concern or silence. He saw Bronny James walking through the tunnel looking upbeat, not just calm, actually laughing, like nothing serious just happened. And this wasn't some quick smile either. It was full-on carefree energy like everything was fine. Meanwhile, Luka is being helped to the back, clearly emotional, clearly hurting. Reaves saw it, heard it, and then came the words that pushed everything over the edge. According to people who were right there, Bronny wasn't just in a good mood. He was caught making comments about the situation. He talked about how the floor would be more open now, and even joked about Luka being dramatic for grabbing his leg like that. And that right there crossed the line. You have to understand, Reaves doesn't see Luka as just a teammate. That's like family to him. So hearing someone, especially a young player still trying to prove himself, speak like that about someone carrying the team, that hit different. Reaves didn't stop to argue. No warnings, no back and forth talking. He reacted instantly and moved straight toward Bronny. And this wasn't one of those light scuffles where everyone holds each other back right away. This was real intensity, built up frustration, everything coming out at once. Reaves had clearly reached his breaking point with everything happening around that team, and in that moment, it all exploded. Security had to rush in fast, not just one or two people. Multiple guards stepped in trying to separate them before things got worse. It took real effort to pull Reaves away because he was locked in and not letting go easily. That tunnel moment didn't just show frustration, it exposed everything that's been building inside that locker room for a long time. But the real reason behind Bronny's reaction, it's not just bad attitude, it goes way deeper, and honestly, it feels calculated. Word is, Bronny understands that with Luka out, his minutes are about to jump big time. So this isn't just about basketball for him, it's about opportunity, spotlight, and timing. And there's another layer to it. There's been ongoing filming around LeBron and his son since training camp, capturing everything they do. The goal? Build a storyline where Bronny rises up next to his dad and takes on a bigger role. That kind of footage could easily turn into a major media project down the line. Now here's where things really take a turn. When everything settled and reporters caught up with Austin Reaves, he didn't give some safe, polished answer. He looked straight at the cameras and said exactly how he felt, and it hit hard. He said, "You should not be celebrating something like that. We are a team, and it really shows who you are raised by." That line stuck with people immediately, and it added even more heat to an already tense situation. Moments like that make people question what's really going on behind closed doors. If a player reacts that way to a teammate's injury, it raises eyebrows about the mindset and the environment around the team. And then comes the biggest question from that night: where was LeBron when Luka went down? Because according to what people saw, he wasn't rushing over or reacting the way you'd expect from a teammate in that moment. He was near midcourt watching it all unfold without stepping in right away. No immediate help, no visible urgency, just a calm, distant reaction that didn't sit right with a lot of viewers. For some, it felt like a pattern they've noticed before. Situations where injured teammates didn't always get that visible support in key moments have been talked about over the years. That's why when Luka went down, only a few players really reacted instantly. One of them was Jared Vanderbilt, and his response stood out right away. If you watch closely, Vanderbilt moves quickly toward Luka and even positions himself to block cameras from getting a clear shot. That wasn't random. He was trying to protect Luka from being shown at his most vulnerable. While that was happening, others seemed more hesitant. And according to insiders, there was a level of uncertainty on the bench about how to respond in that moment. Some reports suggest players were cautious about how their actions might be interpreted internally, especially in a team environment that already feels divided. And that tension, it's been building for a while, because behind the scenes, there are also reports about shifting relationships and unexpected alliances forming. One of the more surprising developments involves LeBron and Stephen A. Smith. After years of public back and forth, there are talks that things have cooled off between them recently. That alone raised questions, because the timing lines up with a wave of commentary around Luka's injury that didn't sit well with everyone watching. There were takes floating around suggesting Luka may have exaggerated how serious things were, which immediately sparked backlash. Calling out a player known for competing at a high level like that, it didn't land well.
Because when we saw him holding his hamstring in the first half, a lot of us were like, wait a minute now, that wasn't happening when you were dropping 30 plus the last 12, 13, 15 games, but suddenly now your damn hamstring is hurt. We were looking at it with a raised eyebrow.
And it added even more noise to an already chaotic situation surrounding the team. What really stands out in all this is the contrast in how players carry themselves. Because Luka has built a reputation for showing respect across the board, even beyond his own team. There have been moments where he's gone out of his way to check on other players, even opponents, making sure they're okay after tough plays. That kind of approach sticks with people. It shows a level of awareness and respect that goes beyond stats and highlights.
So, give up, I need help you. This man's I'm like this. Tear down.
He's also known for treating people around the organization with genuine kindness. Staff, arena workers, everyone. That's part of why teammates connect with him the way they do. And that's exactly why this whole situation hit so hard for Austin Reaves. Because to him, this wasn't just about one comment or one moment. It was about how someone he respects was being treated during one of the toughest points of his season. That's why his reaction wasn't just emotional, it felt personal. Austin Reaves was shaking with anger, and you could see why. He wasn't just upset, he was watching what felt like betrayal happen right in front of him. His guys down hurting, possibly out for the season. And at the same time, he sees LeBron standing still at half court and Bronny acting like it's not serious at all. That kind of moment hits deep, and Reaves felt every second of it. But here's the bigger question nobody can ignore. Why does the James side even view Luka as such a threat? Why would there be this much tension around one player on the same team? That doesn't just come from nowhere. Some people are connecting it to something much larger than one argument in a tunnel. They see it as a clash of roles, attention, and legacy. Because Luka isn't just another name on the roster. He's producing at an elite level and naturally becoming the center of attention. And that shift changes everything. When one player starts dominating headlines, putting up 33.5 a night, and carrying big moments, the spotlight moves with him. That can create pressure inside any team dynamic, especially one already dealing with strong personalities and outside attention. A lot of fans think this Lakers situation is just bad timing and injuries stacking up, but others are looking at how everything lines up, from increased attention on certain players to changes in rotations, and they're starting to question if there's more going on behind the scenes. Take the recent games, for example. Bronny's minutes have noticeably increased, and it's caught people off guard. From a pure basketball standpoint, some analysts have questioned those decisions, especially in tight matchups where every possession matters. There's a belief in some circles that this is about building a storyline, giving Bronny more exposure, more reps, and more moments that can be highlighted later. Whether that's fair or not, it's definitely being talked about. At the same time, other players like Austin Reaves have seen shifts in their roles, and that hasn't gone unnoticed either. When rotations start changing during crucial stretches of the season, people are going to ask questions, and the numbers, they've been part of the conversation too. Bronny's stats haven't jumped off the page, and critics have pointed that out repeatedly. That contrast between opportunity and production has only added more noise to the situation. There was even a moment caught on camera during a late March game where LeBron was visibly frustrated after a rough play involving Bronny.
The duo on the floor together. Bronny to LeBron.
That clip spread quickly, with people analyzing every second of it and debating what it really showed. Still, despite those struggles, Bronny continues to see time on the court, and that keeps fueling the discussion about priorities, development, exposure, or winning right now. Now tie that back to the tunnel moment. When Bronny made those comments about Luka, some people saw it as immaturity. Others saw it as confidence taken too far. Either way, it landed badly, especially considering the timing. And for Reaves, that wasn't something he could just ignore. In his mind, this was about respect, plain and simple. That's why his reaction came so fast and so strong. But then things took another unexpected turn. Just days after that confrontation, Reaves ends up dealing with an oblique injury, and the timing raised eyebrows immediately. Now you've got Luka sidelined and Reaves limited as well, two key players suddenly out of the spotlight at the same time. That shift changes the entire focus of the team moving forward. Some fans think it's just unfortunate timing, part of the physical toll of the season. Others are more skeptical and see it as oddly convenient given everything that just happened. What's clear is that with both of them out, the dynamic of the team looks completely different. The offense changes, the rotations shift, and the attention naturally moves elsewhere. And when attention shifts, narratives follow. That's just how the league works now on the court and off it. Looking back even further, some observers believe these tensions didn't just appear overnight. There have been subtle signs for months. Comments in interviews, podcast discussions, and reports hinting at possible changes within the team. Even trade rumors involving key players earlier in the year added another layer to everything. Moves like that don't come out of nowhere. They usually connect to bigger plans or shifting priorities. So when you stack it all together, the injury, the reactions, the rotation changes, and the ongoing storylines, it paints a picture of a team dealing with more than just basketball issues. And for Austin Reaves, that moment in the tunnel wasn't just about one comment. It was about everything that had been building up around him finally boiling over. People are calling this the same pattern all over again. The idea floating around is simple. If someone can't be controlled, they get pushed to the side. And in this situation, Austin Reaves was never fully inside that inner circle to begin with. He wasn't tied to the same agency connections, and that made him stand out in a locker room where relationships matter just as much as performance. That alone had people saying he was always moving differently compared to others on the roster. Then you've got the behind-the-scenes talk picking up. Reports started spreading that the Lakers were looking for another star, and Reaves' name kept popping up in those conversations as a key trade piece. Not because he wasn't valuable, but because he was valuable enough to move. But here's where people really start reading into it. Reaves isn't just another role player. He's one of the few guys on that team who plays with confidence no matter who's on the court. He takes big shots, speaks his mind, and doesn't shrink under pressure. That kind of presence can either strengthen a team or create tension if the structure around it isn't solid.
If I was the Lakers, I would probably be targeting the Memphis Grizzlies as a trade partner
For
Jaren Jackson.
yeah, that'd be a great fit.
Or you could say, let me withhold that, but this comes with a
Reaves.
This comes with a very unemotional attachment.
And when trade discussions become public, it changes how everything feels inside that locker room. Suddenly, it's not just about basketball, it's about trust, positioning, and who's really part of the long-term plan. Now think about the timing. When Luka goes down, the entire focus of the team shifts instantly. And before there's even full clarity on the injury, the conversation already starts changing around accountability and performance. After that tough loss to Dallas, LeBron stepped up in the post-game interview and pointed directly at defensive issues. He talked about lack of focus, rotations, and effort on that end of the floor. On the surface, that sounds like standard post-game analysis, but fans were quick to notice something. It didn't fully line up with what they were watching.
Game, but I thought defensively, we had some breakdowns. I think, especially in the first half, we gave too many transition points, and then we allowed a lot of the key guys get to their spots.
The Mavericks dropped 134 points, and the Lakers struggled across the board. But the usual names people associate with defensive criticism weren't even playing in that game. So naturally, questions started popping up. If the defense still collapsed without those players on the floor, then what's really going on? That's where the debate gets loud. Some believe it's just a team-wide issue, injuries, chemistry, and inconsistency all hitting at once. Others think the messaging doesn't match the reality, because when the same narratives keep showing up, even when circumstances change, people start to look deeper. And then there's the bigger conversation about leadership and legacy. In the NBA, every move on and off the court gets analyzed through that lens. LeBron has built a career on dominance and control of the game, but with that comes constant scrutiny. Every decision, every comment, every reaction gets magnified. So when things go wrong, the spotlight doesn't just stay on the loss, it spreads to everything surrounding it. Meanwhile, Bronny's performances have also been under heavy discussion. His shooting numbers, shot selection, and overall impact have all been debated across media and fan spaces. That contrast between opportunity and output keeps fueling the conversation even more. And when you combine that with injuries to key players like Luka and Reaves, it creates a situation where the narrative can shift quickly and dramatically. Some people see it as a team struggling to stay afloat during a rough stretch. Others see layers of internal tension that haven't been resolved. Either way, the perception right now is intense, and it's not slowing down. And this isn't the first time fans have looked back at past situations to try and understand what's happening now. Names from previous teams and past moments always come up in these discussions as people try to connect patterns and behaviors over time. Fair or not, that's part of what comes with being at the center of the basketball world. At the end of the day, what's happening with this team isn't just about wins and losses anymore. It's about roles, trust, and who truly has control when the pressure hits its peak. And for players like Austin Reaves, that pressure isn't something you can ignore. It's something that eventually forces a reaction. The moment Kyrie started stepping out of that shadow and building his own identity, everything changed, and not quietly either. Suddenly, stories started leaking. Questions about leadership popped up, and his toughness was being debated all over the place. That situation got messy fast, and a lot of people are now comparing that same kind of pressure to what Luka is dealing with right now, and it doesn't stop there. Look back at what Kevin Love went through during that 2018 season. He was open about dealing with panic attacks, trying to handle real pressure, and instead of full support, things around him got tense. There were locker room disagreements, public scrutiny, and constant questions about his role. That moment stuck with a lot of fans because it showed how quickly the focus can shift when expectations aren't being met. Whether fair or not, those situations became part of a bigger conversation about how teams handle adversity and support their players. Now fast forward to today, and people are drawing parallels again. Luka is dealing with a tough injury, and reports are saying he's taking it hard both physically and mentally. Missing out on a historic season like that hits deep no matter who you are. At the same time, everything else around the team keeps moving. Cameras are rolling, media coverage is nonstop, and the spotlight hasn't dimmed for a second. That contrast between one player struggling and the machine around the team continuing forward is what has people talking. Some see it as the reality of the business side of basketball. Others see it as a disconnect between what's happening on the court and what's being pushed off it. There's also this growing conversation about how narratives are built in real time. When a team shifts direction, the story shifts with it. And right now, there's a clear spotlight on who steps up next and how that story gets told.
Yeah, I feel I just left the Lakers locker room where I saw a very quiet and somber Luka Doncic by himself in the corner of the locker, put a brace or a sleeve on that left hamstring of his.
But here's the hard truth. A lot of fans are starting to accept the Lakers, as currently constructed, don't look like a championship team anymore. Injuries, inconsistency, and internal tension have all taken a toll. And when key players like Luka and Austin Reaves are sidelined, it exposes just how fragile things really are. That identity, that chemistry, it starts to fall apart under pressure. So now the big question becomes, what's next? Because standing still isn't going to fix any of this. Some people believe changes need to happen at the roster level. Others think it's about leadership, direction, and resetting priorities across the organization. Either way, something has to give if this team wants to be taken seriously again. Because right now, the gap between expectations and reality is way too big to ignore. And that brings it all back to you. I want to hear what you think about this whole situation. Do you believe this season fell apart because of injuries and bad timing? Or do you think deeper issues inside the team played a bigger role in everything we're seeing right now? Drop your thoughts in the comments and keep it real. I'm reading everything. If you want more breakdowns like this, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who's been following this situation closely. And stay locked in, because you already know there's more coming. See you in the next one.